So hello everyone, my name is Diksha and I'm the founder at Incubate. And you must have been seeing something called Simplified flash on our socials in the past few weeks. Well, we have Mr. Simplified in front of us. Hi Ajay, how are you?
Good, good. How are you?
Absolutely well, and so glad that you could join us today. Before we get to how you simplified your life, I want to know who the real Ajay is. What's his story? आप entrepreneur क्यों बने?
There you go. I like that. Well, thank you for having me. Funny enough, actually, when I go back to my story, I don't really. Everyone sees the company, blah blah blah. Then we talk a lot about my failing in 12th grade. Recently, I've been sharing a lot about that, because I think India is going through this phase where सबको entrepreneur बनना है.
बिल्कुल.
Right? Everyone wants
I'm
to
going to
be that.
ask you for that report card.
Yeah. And I think in this sort of the entrepreneurship life, I think a lot of kids start at college, right? Like you're in college, you have this big dream, you want to go after that, right?
Correct.
And I think back in the days when I was growing up, that was not the case. That was like you go to college, you have to graduate because you have to get a job, right? मतलब कुछ तो बनना ही है तो नौकरी चाहिए, नौकरी मतलब grade चाहिए, marks चाहिए, नौकरी चाहिए ना तो करना ही पड़ेगा, कोई option ही नहीं है आपके पास.
That's true, yeah.
And that's where I grew up, no option at all. So for me, I ended up failing in 12th grade, not once but twice.
Wow.
एक बार नहीं fail होना, दो बार fail होना.
Amazing.
And that was like, for me, was the most traumatic experience of my life because, as 15, 16, whatever the age was, right? And no one wants to look at you as like, ये कुछ करेगा, कुछ नहीं करेगा. So I'm like completely useless, nothing can happen. So my thing was more like, how do I run away? Like, what can I do to leave the country actually? It's like that, it's like that bad, and then maybe do something else. Maybe I will be nobody and useless, and maybe I'd be useless in some other country, right? At least I don't have to listen to रिश्तेदार and neighbors and चाचा ताऊ and
fail हो
everyone.
गया, ये क्या होगा?
वो नहीं सुनना पड़ेगा ना हर दिन, तो उसके लिए क्या भाग जाते हैं, you just run away. And I ended up going to the US, and that's where I ended up starting my first ever company.
What year was this?
I think 2006.
So 2006, you go to the US, and the first gig.
The first gig actually I had was, funny enough, I haven't shared this one. I actually ended up getting a job at a hotel.
Oh.
And the job was like, like a front desk, night shift only. No one's hiring me for like a day shift. I'm not. English is bad, and not so like professional and not so like polished, right? But night shift, no one wants to do it. रात को किसी को काम नहीं करना है, क्योंकि मतलब dead job ना, वो graveyard job. उठेगा रात भर, and then you have to do the job and whatnot. So took the job, and my job was from cleaning to checking in the guest, and whatever happens, I'm the only guy actually.
Oh my
पूरे होटल में मैं ही हूँ, मतलब रात भर कोई नहीं है वहाँ पे. तो I think.
कहाँ था?
I mean,
in New York?
In New York actually, yeah, in New York. So in New York, the first job, hotel. I did that for, I think I remember roughly maybe a year.
Wow.
Before actually I got fired from that job.
So failed, went to the US, first job in the hotel, and got fired. Wow, that's some recipe.
The reason why I got fired, actually, I think it's not my fault. I literally remember, there was another guy, I think Nepali guy, used to work with me, and he actually somehow had to leave or something.
Asha.
So I had to cover for him, for the hotel. मतलब कि अब कोई बंदा तो है नहीं है, सिर्फ मैं ही हूँ वहाँ पे. तो जब तक वो दूसरा बंदा ढूंढेंगे, मुझको डबल ट्रिपल शिफ्ट करना पड़ा.
My God.
And I was like literally living in the hotel. So I'm living in the hotel, doing 2 or 3 shifts. I'm just tired. So then क्या हुआ? I'm so tired, but I'm still committed to the job. I was so tired that I forgot to take the money from a guest. And that was recorded on the camera. I was just so tired, like इतना मतलब थकान रहती है ना, ज़ाम्बी से बन जाते हैं कि you can't think actually कि भूल ही गए कि पैसा लेना. So I didn't take the money from the guest, and for that one simple mistake, I was fired. And I explained them like इतना मैं यहाँ पे काम कर रहा हूँ, यहाँ पे इतने तरह से मतलब कि 2 3 शिफ्ट कर रहा हूँ. हो गई थकान, हो गई गलती, ठीक है ना? I won't do it next time.
Ruthless.
है ना? Then they said no, you have to go. But I'm so thankful that I got fired actually. I really am so grateful for that moment, because that was the moment I decided I would never work for anyone.
Beautiful.
It's like one of those like young blood, and you feel like fuck this and I'm out.
किसी के लिए काम नहीं करूँगी. Only for myself.
Myself. बाहर में गया, काम नहीं करना है. हो गया, मतलब करा सब कुछ, किसी को नहीं देखना है मैंने, तो नहीं काम करना है, निकल जाएंगे यहाँ से. अपना खुद को कुछ करेंगे. and that was it. I was on my own.
And this was 2007.
Yeah, 7 actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
7ish. And then maybe it took me a while actually. I don't think I remember that it is like 2006 or 7, whatever that is. Somewhere around that line. I don't remember when I got the first job. Too long now, man. 17, 18 years actually. But I remember after that, I met someone at college, and someone asked me, "क्या website बना सकते हो क्या?"
Acha.
And I was like, "Of course, I'm an Indian, so I can
Yeah,
I can build a website."
सारे Indians techies होते
Techies
हैं.
होते हैं. I mean, that was the stereotype of me, but I don't mind it. I'll build a website. That was my goal, and I built the first website. I think I made $1,000+ from that website.
Wow.
And I did not know how to build a website. So I hired someone, and of course I was coding early, come on, like 1 year in coding school, whatnot. And then that's when I ended up building a team. So from $1,000 से पूरा company का शुरुआत हुआ.
क्या बात.
This is 2000, that is the time, I think maybe 8ish, 9ish, that time. So built my first company, and we built over 200 projects at that time. We had 40, 45 people. I'm like barely 19 at that point,
Wow.
And I'm like, so college, I remember when you're a kid, you should try to make money. I'm super young, right? Like 17 to 19, I was making money. Like I had a business, I was making money. And that just gave me so much confidence, I felt like अपने दो पैरों पे I think खड़े हो गए ना, कुछ है मतलब. Not the best thing, but I was making some money. And then I built a second company after that as a classifieds marketplace, And then the rest is history. Built my last company that I built in the rental space. Ran there for a decade, and then now we're simplifying lives with Simplified.
So, in all of these experiences, right, from the hotel to the web ops DevOps company to the rental company, what did you realize was the most important skill for an entrepreneur? Like,
I think one thing I now tell people, you should be very, very curious actually. मतलब इतना curiosity इतना होना चाहिए ना कि you really just want to learn. Like that's the thing. And I was always very curious. Like you give me a task, give me something, I'd want to learn actually that, and just do something with it. So I was learning. जो दिखा सब सीखने को मिला, मतलब कि सीखना है बस, मतलब सिखाओ, पैसा वैसा आता रहेगा. अभी अपनी उम्र सीखने की है, तो जो भी टास्क मिले, जो भी किसी भी तरह का रोल करना पड़े, सेल्स करना है, कस्टमर सपोर्ट करना है, डेवलपमेंट करना है, यहाँ जाना है, उससे बात करना है, उससे बात करना है, एवरीथिंग दैट हैज टू डू विद लर्निंग, I'll do it actually. And I might not be the best at everything, but I will definitely give it my best, So I think that was the thing. अच्छे हो नहीं हो, अपना मतलब पूरा बेस्ट आपको देना है.
try करते रहो.
ट्राई करते रहो, बट बेस्ट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू फोकस ऑन द बेस्ट, मतलब कि मैंने पूरा मेहनत करा, फेल हो गए कोई बात नहीं, हमने पूरा अपना मेहनत करा. एंड दैट्स वाज द एटीट्यूड. एंड सेकंड थिंग I learned early on, play the long game. I always say, play the long game. I'm here to play the longest game of my life. If it takes a decade, 2 decades, लंबा गेम खेलना है. 10 साल के खेलेंगे, 20 साल के खेलेंगे, 50 साल के खेलेंगे. We have to play the longest game, Let's not get distracted by now. अभी के नहीं, अभी क्या चाहिए, कल क्या चाहिए, 3 महीने में क्या चाहिए, अपने को लंबा देखना है ना. तो futuristic actually. That helped me not get anxious too much in the moment. कि अभी क्या हो रहा है, मतलब कुछ नहीं चल रहा है, long term. कल को ये बड़ा बिजनेस बनेगा, कल को कुछ होगा. And that was the focus, like something bigger is going to happen in the next decade. And that's what I kept doing, and I do it now actually. And that helped a lot.
It must have not been easy, right? Like shifting from India, not knowing anyone in the US, starting 3 companies. You must have built your network. What was the secret sauce?
It was as simple as showing to the first event, and the story goes to my brother actually. My older brother used to visit me in the US, and he would stay with me for like months. He was like, "Oh, my younger brother's here." He's like, and I was the shy one.
Oh.
My brother was the outgoing one actually. Like I wouldn't talk to anyone, And then I remember booking a ticket to this rooftop cocktail event,
Okay.
And I wouldn't go. So I just had no courage, like literally like no courage to go to the event. मतलब हिम्मत ही नहीं हुई कि
जाके लोगों से बात करो.
मतलब घर के बाहर भी कैसे निकलो. इवेंट है, टिकट ले लिए, मतलब पैर ही नहीं चल रहे थे कि इवेंट कैसे पहुंचूंगा, कैसे बात करूंगा लोगों से, क्या होगा. And my brother was there, and he said to me, what's the worst that can happen? You should go if you bought the ticket. Like he really pushed me out of the home actually. And I went to the first event, and nice cocktail VC, whatever, pitch event.
Yeah,
whatever
all the
that was.
startup.
But this is like 15, 16 or 17 years ago, right? Like long time
back
ago.
in
This
the
is a
day.
back in there. It's not like recent one, you know?
Yeah.
So I went to the event and I was so shy that I went there and I just stood in the corner. And maybe for 10, 15 minutes did nothing actually, right? Like I'm just so like, almost like frozen actually, you know, you freeze. And someone came up to me and said, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, wow, that's not too bad, right, isn't it? And then I just went to other people, hey, how's it going?
How's it going? How's it going?
And that was when I learned that that's a fear I had to overcome. And that was just as simple as that, hey, I'm scared of this thing. Let me maybe try to do it. And that was the early days of networking. Then I would just go to events and like, hey, it's a pitch event. I'm super scared. I'm peeing my pants, right? But let's just do it, right?
Why not?
Get in the line and just like start rambling words out of your mouth. And that was like, it just ended working out. So I think I was like always just doing these things where I was super scared, but it helped me overcome that fear. And then I ended up meeting so many people, just telling my stories and events and conferences and whatnot.
And top 3 tips or advice for someone who's starting their networking journey?
I think the first is when you know nobody, the answer is build your network, right? Like you can't be building in a garage and thinking someday something's going to happen, right?
And someone's going to, find...
Whatever, right? Yeah. You're going to raise money, you're going to hire people, you're going to sell to someone. You don't know anyone, right? So you can't do anything. So I think build your network because you wouldn't do this again. Like today, I do not build my network. I have no time to meet people. My only time goes to my business and my customers. And then I have a personal life. I don't have time to meet new people anymore. I just don't do it. I do it very, very often. So when you're young, you don't have that liability.
That's true.
Of business not there, you're nobody, there's no family, right? You have nothing going on. Go and meet people. And that was like just go and start meeting people. So I think I would say number 1, start meeting people, build a strong network.
Yeah.
Number 2, don't be someone who's a networker. You need to be a builder who's a networker.
Exactly.
Not just a networker. I mean, it fits for someone who's not building something. But if you want to build a business, you want to build something plus network, you know? And the last thing I say in the early days of building network and whatnot and going out there, lead with data. Lead with numbers. If I say, hey, I'm building something that has 100 users, right? I'm someone who has 1 customer. You know, people believe you more.
Exactly.
Hey, I'm going to build an idea that's going to change the world and I have nobody that's happening. Or I have a product that's been built, right? Like whatever that is, like be more concrete with...
More objective.
More objective. Because that's what that's going to do. It's going to reverse this for you and you're going to actually try to find customers, find users so you can be more validated in your idea. You can't just say, I'm going to build an app that's going to change blah, blah, blah. Hey, we're building something and I'm going to build something and I'm talking to already potential customers, potential users, whatever that looks like, right? Data tells a good story because that's where you're going to meet the first set of investors. Or if you say, hey, I'm here, in 6 months I'm going to have these many customers, most likely you'll end up meeting those people again. And if you meet them again, they say, hey, you know, remember that I was building something and now actually I have 100 customers. That's like, wow, you are believable. We can trust you. So that means you end up raising more money and people trust you more.
You said something so true, right? Like storytelling. And storytelling comes from content and marketing.
Yep.
And how important do you see that in a world like today?
I mean, I think it's like building your brand, right? I think you're like nobody if you don't have a brand. You might have a company, but the company in the early days have no value. Like,
true.
It might die. Like most often you'll end up just dying, right? The company is not going to survive, right? But if you have a brand, you tell your story, even of failure, of success, of experiments, whatever that is, right? That story might actually end up building some of the value that can be sold to future employees, future investors, future customers, right? Because they know you who you are. So I think building a brand, I'd say, is the number 1 thing you should do as a founder. And telling a story is about, you're always telling a story because we're hiring people, selling to customers, raising money. So you have to figure out, how do I actually out there tell a story? Start with yourself. Hey, this is me. I grew up blah, blah, blah. I experienced X, Y, Z. That's why I'm building a company. So like your story should be very personal, very powerful. Then if you share that online, people kind of, right, that person looks like me.
Yeah.
That person sounds like me. Oh, that person has a similar story like what I have. So I think you need to figure out how you be more human, more vulnerable, and just getting out there and telling those stories can actually help you build your business.
Okay, so I got the part about content being very important, but how has Ajay simplified it?
I mean, I think content for me has been always, maybe like a decade ago actually, I was just always curious to share stuff. And I was like, what happens if I start sharing my stuff, right? You build a community, right? On LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram, and whatnot, right? Maybe 7-8 years ago, I started sharing on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn, I've grown it more than 100,000 followers now. And that was like, I'm sharing my story and I'm helping other people, right? Because I'm sharing what not to do, what to do. I have fucked up more times than I've done good stuff in companies, and not coming from any background, so like my own learnings that I've had as an entrepreneur. So that means I'm sharing those and building a network. And in my companies, I realized that when you think about brand, telling a story, content, marketing, you often need so many team members, right? You have design people, you have video people, you have this writing people, and then you have this sort of the social media, right? It always felt like everyone is like using these 5-7 apps, trying to collaborate. They're not in the same place, and they're just like content is everywhere from Dropbox files, Google Drive, desktop, and whatnot, right? So I felt like content creation, the whole planning of it, creation of it, and publishing just felt so broken because it needs to be collaborative. It needs to be faster. It needs to be better ideas, saving more time, being more creative. And that's when you build Simplified. So businesses and teams and creators can actually go from planning, creation to publishing, designing content, making videos, subtitling videos, writing great copy using AI, and then you have social media. So we use AI everywhere, but it's an AI-powered marketing suite that can do from end-to-end marketing for you.
So in a sense, what you're saying is that in a parallel universe, I'd need like 5-7 people to actually get my marketing
or tools.
Content or tools, right? But you've kind of concised that, and that's what Simplified is.
It's like, we still have 5-7 apps, but they're one platform. So you have one app, design, I want to share my design with the writing team, you can do that. I have video and design at the same time. So the same person can go to design and video and see both the assets. It's more like the suite where all the apps are connected in a way that feels like magical, like real-time collaboration and getting the job done faster.
No, I mean, we've been using Simplified at Incubate to make a lot of our video content, and it's a lot more faster and quicker to do it because the templates are pretty cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'll share with the team. I mean, templatizing has been around for the past couple of years, and now the next thing is AI. Like, tell me what to do, and I'll do it for you. So you kind of go beyond that and then just do even more, actually.
Yeah. And Ajay, I know personally you share so much content, right? What are some of the hacks that you've discovered along the way? आज तो सबको famous बनना है, सबको influencer बनना है. And why not? I mean, especially I encourage founders, especially female founders.
Yeah.
To use social media to tell their stories, create their brand, because that's going to reflect on the company and revenues. So what are some of the hacks and...
I mean, the first thing is when it comes to content, right? People get in their head that content is such a big thing. What do I share? Biggest question, right? And we're doing this podcast. You can literally share, let's say it's your first podcast. You can say, hey, this is what 3 steps or 4 things I did to organize my first podcast. Pick a great location, blah, blah, blah. Make sure you preserve, blah, blah, blah. You have maybe 1 or 2 cameras, right? You better prepare your question. That's just the learning you had from one simple moment.
Correct.
If you share this learning online, you just share the story.
Beautiful.
So think about every day, like the basic of the basic, and just share that with people, because that's going to help so many more people, and that's where you start a community. It's like dead simple,
simple.
And then I think the brand is more like take pictures, share pictures with your post. They work really well. Record yourself if you can, voice notes, write down some thoughts if you have, and then just use it as well. But do all these things. Just keep it as easy as simple. Don't overthink of content. Like, what do people want to hear? No, what do I want to share? And then you learn what people want to hear soon.
So basic content, use Simplify to create it, and voila, and become an influencer. Is that the recipe?
Just build a creator. I mean, I think that the end goal is not to be anyone. Just the end goal is just to share value. Like, I think start everything from value system. Like, I don't think that I'm building this for content for so many people. You'll figure that out. The starting point is always, I want to do something that's X. I'm going to do the X. I'll figure out what the Y wants. It's like that comes later on.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing I think for founders, especially female founders, right, should be out there.
Yeah.
Start sharing first, the basic of the basic. How to beat Pune traffic. 5 learnings that I've learned in the past 5 years.
Absolutely.
Boom. That's it. As simple as that.
Wow, we've already got like 3-4 content pieces from your advice. So thank you, Ajay. I'm sure people can sort of take cues from that. And what you said, right, about shared value. In fact, that's how I met Ajay. The first time that I was introduced to him is because I remember he used to run a Slack channel
Oh, shit.
that would
Is that what you run?
yes, that would actually collate a list of all the people, VCs, angels who wanted to invest in female founders.
Oh,
At the time,
wow.
he was still in NYC. And to me, that resonated because, of course, at Incubate, we do this for so many female founders, right? Help them raise, scale. And that stuck. So I want you to tell everyone about that journey. I know that you've been very silently supporting female founders, whether through the Slack channel or now through Simplified and Incubate's partnership. So talk to us a little bit about it.
That's crazy. Wow, Slack channel. I think that was just an idea I had, like, hey, why don't we have more like minority founders? Like, I mean, they're all everywhere, right? But I was like, let me start like a Slack channel, bring all the minority founders in there, right? Especially a lot of women. So I think I started a Slack channel that grew like, I think a couple of hundred members actually.
Yeah, it did.
I should be active there. I'm not active anymore. But, so that was like, I connected with so many people and all over the world actually. So that was like one way to do it. And I think people still connect there. I see like people still messaging each other actually. And then I've been somehow investing for a while as an angel, and I've naturally end up meeting a lot of female founders through my network and maybe similar funds and whatnot. And I learned that I think in many cases, I think women are better business
We've got that
leaders.
camera.
There are a lot of men.
Futurized female.
You know, and they're not wasting their money and they're like on the business and whatnot, right? So I'm like, you know what? If I want to start now, I want to have my money saved. So who can I bet? Women entrepreneurs, right? So
VCs, listen to this line.
So that's what it was, and I ended up backing naturally, without even knowing actually, I think more female founders
Wow.
as of now that I've thought about, you know.
Amazing.
And some really amazing companies, and I'm like, you know, this is great, we want to back more. So I, of course, keep talking and keep getting out there. And also like helping people. So I give my time, that's all I have. So instead of meeting like new friends, I would rather meet an upcoming entrepreneur, budding entrepreneur, or like an entrepreneur who's just starting out actually, and help them with my time as much as I can.
Fantastic. We love that. And in fact, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be launching a female founder pitch competition.
Amazing.
Where female founders, if you're listening, you're going to record your pitches, put them on Simplified, share that link, and voila, who knows, you get funded by Ajay.
You never know. I don't know. You never know. But the big thing with you guys, right, with Incubate, I think what we found is, and especially with both of you, right, is like how can we impact? And I think we're like, okay, let's give it a software somehow. Maybe they have it discounted, or maybe we just support these entrepreneurs. Like we want, as much as it's important to build something, it's also equally important, if not more, to market that.
Yeah.
So people know you exist. So you don't die because, hey, I couldn't find customers. You had customers and they maybe didn't like the product, maybe, right? Something else was missing, right? Financial model wasn't good. So our software is open to the group of Incubate and all the female entrepreneurs, so they can use the platform and get ahead.
Absolutely.
You know, and this discount is not available to a lot of people. So it's like, you got to take advantage of this thing, right?
Absolutely.
Post more content personally as a founder, and then as a company, get your whole team loaded on Simplified.
Now, in fact, we have a special partnership with Simplified, and I'm going to have the code in the comments, but it essentially gives you 50% off all the plans.
All the plans.
You know, and I keep saying this to all of you, you know that most of my content creation on LinkedIn is telling people to create LinkedIn posts about all together, right? And like you said, I love what you said, right? It could be anything as basic. And most of the times, Ajay, when I speak to women and they know that the question's coming. Why haven't you posted? And it's
Yeah.
like time. I don't know how to schedule it. I don't know what ideas
Yeah.
to put in. But that's exactly what Simplified has solved for.
It was simpler because I think you go on this ideation stage. I'm confused what to come up with, right? That's what AI and Simplified does for you. But if you have thoughts, you can jot them down on a piece of paper, like on Doc on Simplified. And once you have this thing, you're not exporting and importing to some random social media publishing tool. It's just right there. Just click a button and say, hey, schedule on social media.
Yeah.
So everything is happening within the platform. So you feel like, hey, I've saved so much time, and now I can go ahead and build my brand, basically. So definitely should try it out.
Amazing. And we're going to be getting some FaceTime with Ajay. He's going to be doing tutorials for us, or his team is going to be doing tutorials for us, trying to help us understand how to use the app to make better content. So Ajay,
Happy
we're
to
looking out
share
for
some
that.
tips and tricks.
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. But thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure to have you, and we're very excited about this partnership. We're just getting started.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.